So today I'm taking a moisture sample from our haylage pile. So what that means is every summer we cut all of our hay, we chop it up, and then we put it in this pile. And when we put it in this pile, we pack it down so there's no oxygen left into it, and then we feed it to the cows. When we pack it down and we take the oxygen out of it, it makes it so it can ferment, and that makes it more palatable for the cows to digest. It's important to take moisture samples because the moisture content can vary from within the pile. This can be based on when we cut that hay, how wet the hay was when we cut it, and the variety of hay. There's a bunch of different reasons that can influence the moisture. So that's why you saw me take different sections of that pile out. And it's very important that we're precise with the amount of hay we feed. So if that moisture content varies, that means the weight of the hay we're feeding is going to vary. So we need to check that moisture so we know basically how much water is in the hay we're feeding, and then we can adjust the rest of the diet accordingly to that. So here are the scoops of haylage I got, and what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna mix them up because, like I said, I got them from different parts of the pile, and we want it to be uniform when we test what the moisture is. Okay. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna weigh out 100 grams of haylage. So now that we have 100 grams of haylage, I'm gonna heat it up in this coaster, and after an hour, we're gonna see how much moisture evaporates from it. All right, so now we're all set up. We got the heater here, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn it on. We're gonna let it sit for an hour, and we're gonna come back and see what the moisture is. While I'm waiting on that, I'm gonna go through and cut the plastic off of these two piles. So that pile right there is the corn silage pile. This is the hay silage pile. And we cover them in plastic after we harvest to keep them away from the elements, and that also helps the moisture from fluctuating. It sure is a beautiful January morning in Michigan. So here's what it looks like on top of the pile. This is the section of corn silage I just cut. So we're gonna feed this to the cows this evening. And then as we get going, I'll just cut more plastic off, but I just threw all the tires off so I didn't have to do that later. All right, maybe I'm the first one to discover this, maybe I'm not. But when you're dealing with hydraulics in the winter, things get really cold, and these attachments here have to plug into the skid loader. But sometimes they don't want to plug in. So what I do is I heat them up on the exhaust, and then once I get them hot enough, then they work. So if you've ever had that issue, now you know. It's been about an hour now, so we're gonna take the haylage off the coaster and see what it tests at. All right, so when I put it on there, it was 100 grams, and now it says it's 30 grams. So that means that 70 grams of it evaporated into moisture, which means it was pretty wet haylage, and it's 30% dry matter. Now I'm gonna give that information to our nutritionist, and he's going to update the ration accordingly. So what does that mean? Here's our ration, and here's all the ingredients we feed. This is the amount of cows we're feeding for. So this number is going to change because the dry matter is different. And so basically the amount we feed is going to be different now. And that's going to adjust the rest of the ration. I know you've all been very curious about how to test for dry matter, and now you know.
Seriously?
All right, now we're headed to Ugly Dog Distillery in Chelsea, Michigan to watch local legend and country star Kaylyn Pace perform. My one buddy's really big on her, so here we are tonight showing her some love.
We were there today. There was
What do you think of Kaylyn, man?
like one of them was like a putt.